Good, so let's start. Basically, welcome to this webinar on how to transform your relationship with your inner critic. So my name is Helena de Munk, I'm from Oxygen for Leadership, and I will be your host for the next 45 minutes. So please allow me to start with some practicalities so everything runs smoothly. For technical reasons, you are muted, but you can give your inputs and ask your questions via the chat box. All chat box messages are private, so first of all, you can focus on the content I bring, and also you don't have to worry about privacy or discretion. In order to stay tuned, my advice is to use earbuds or a headset and mute all potential interruptions. I also advise you to stay in your browser so you do not lose connection. But if you do lose it, you should be able to reconnect with the reconnect button on the top of your screen. This webinar will be recorded. You will receive a copy of the recording in your mailbox tomorrow, I guess. And in case you would be watching this webinar in the recorded version, you can still give your input or ask your questions via the chat box. I will just receive these messages and come back to you as soon as I can. You will also be able to download some materials during this webinar. If you have any topics that you prefer to discuss in a more discrete context, then do not hesitate to contact me. You have my contact information on your screen. Okay, another thing that is important, our newest ebook on transforming your relationship with your inner critic is available, and you will be able to download it at the end of our webinar. It will allow you to refresh all the information, learnings, and insights from this webinar. Okay, now I have to say my inner critic is yelling pretty loud at this moment because I am delivering this webinar off-site and I'm on Wi-Fi. That means that there might be some streaming issues. If they are, I will see it in the recorded version, and I will send you another version that is recorded in the normal delivery environment on a fixed line as soon as possible. But just let's hope that there's nothing going wrong with the Wi-Fi at this moment. So what is it all about? The real issue. Let me start with one of my favorite quotes. It's not what you say out of your mouth that determines your life. It is what you whisper to yourself that has the most power. For the last decade, I have been working as a leadership coach with multiple leaders, most of them women at the top. And one of the ever recurring topics for most of them is how they miss opportunities because they are letting themselves block too much by their inner critic. We all encounter our inner critic very regularly. Although I am constantly working in the subject and therefore very aware of this phenomenon, my own inner critic is still there sabotaging me. So today he was pretty loud, as I already told you. But then again, it is good to have my inner critic, and you will soon find out why. Do you recognize these? I'm going to look stupid. What if it's not good enough? This should be someone else's project. I don't know enough. No wonder I'm not the center of attention at parties. I'm dull and boring. Do you want some more? I shouldn't take on this new role. Oh my God, why did she pick me to do the presentation? I can't. It will be awful and everybody will see I'm a fraud. Everybody will see that I'm a fake. I could go on, and I guess you also have some. So I'm inviting you, fill in your own. If you want, you can put them in the chat box. What is your inner critic telling you? What are the loudest voices that you have? I can see there's some delay in the chat box, so I will continue with giving you basically what we are going to do today. I can see one already. You don't have the right knowledge. Absolutely. Okay, thank you for that. If you have some more, just let them show in the chat box. So we have 3 topics on the agenda today. First of all, we are going to try to understand the role of our inner critic. Secondly, we are going to recognize him. And third, most important, we are going to explore some techniques to transform your inner critic. I see another one yelling, my presentations are not clear enough. Okay, I can recognize that one. So let's start with understanding the role of our inner critic. Believe it or not, our inner critic was originally designed to help us by helping us avoid pain and shame. Growing up, we internalize all criticism and comments from parents, from friends, from teachers, and they are limiting our authentic, creative, spontaneous, wonderful self. You may hear them say things like, you're not good enough, you're not welcome here, you should have done something else. A lot of things that cause you to question or criticize yourself. And these things, they stay in your mind and they become your inner critic. But so basically, your inner critic's job is to protect you from harm and to ensure you're okay, believe it or not. It does this by leveling every criticism it imagines anyone else could level at you before you can make that mistake. And it is always acting from fear. Please remember that. And your inner critic may sound like a big authority figure, but it is emotionally whatever age it was when it first showed up. And that's usually when we were 6. Good or bad news, your inner critic will never go away. It is a part of you. It is normal and it is even useful if you can avoid getting hooked by its fears and judgments. And last, your inner critic is a chameleon. It sounds like many different things. It can sound scared, it can sound angry, judgmental, very rational, like a procrastinator, etc. So let's have a look at the different roles your inner critic can take. So there's 7. There's the perfectionist, the inner controller, the taskmaster, the underminer, the destroyer, the guilt tripper, and the molder. Let's have a closer look at them. At the end, when I have explained all 7, I will give you the opportunity to download an assessment tool so you can answer specific questions, and as a result, you will recognize your main inner critic in case you might not be able to recognize it intuitively. But let's start with our first one, and it's very well known by me. It's our perfectionist inner critic. The perfectionist believes that if it can always make you do the perfect, best, and right thing, you will avoid criticism, judgment, and rejection from others. It is constantly sending messages of, that's not good enough, you have to be perfect and make it look easy. Of course, we don't often know what the perfect or best thing to do is. So this perfectionist often results in paralysis or procrastination in life. While initially it causes anxiety as a person is driven to perfectionism, this constant sense of failure becomes exhausting, and it can lead to general fatigue, depression, and a case of I don't care anymore syndrome. In its defense, the perfectionist cares about you and is just trying to protect you from the criticism of others. Our second one is the inner controller. The controller makes you feel bad about who you are and your small everyday choices. The controller responds to your body, what you eat and drink, and it often gives you the message, you're disgusting. The controller doesn't stop there though. It also takes the smallest things you do and tries to control everything in your life. For example, how you answer the phone, how you shake someone's hand when you first meet, even how much time you spend in a store. Simple things to more complicated areas in your life are being deeply influenced by this critic. In its defense, the controller is also doing what it thinks will help you to be accepted and loved by other people. Let's talk about number 3, or taskmaster. The taskmaster is the one that pushes you to always work harder. It doesn't want you to rest or to take time for yourself. Believe me, I've known that one. So the taskmaster can drive us to become workaholics, excessive exercisers, or take on any project in an addictive manner. And no matter how hard you work at something, it feels like it's never enough. In its defense, the taskmaster thinks that if it didn't continually push you to work, that you would always play and wouldn't be able to get anything done. So it's doing what it thinks is best to help you succeed in life and in relationships. Next one, the underminer. An underminer tries to keep you from trying new things, advancing in life, and following your dreams. The underminer gives you messages like, you can't do that. And yes, it prevents success, but it also avoids failure and rejection. So in its defense, the underminer attempts to keep you from taking risks, which might result in failure and could bring criticism, judgment, and rejection from other people. Or destroyer is the harshest of all types of inner critics. The destroyer is one that tells you you don't have a right to even exist. The destroyer tries to crush your life force. This can result in suicidal ideation, but oftentimes it results in self-hatred that leads to punishment and self-harm. In its defense, the destroyer is very protective, and it believes that it will be less painful if it destroys you, so that you don't experience the rejection and abandonment from others that it believes is inevitable. Or guilt tripper. The messages of the guilt tripper are the ones that will tell you you are bad, you don't deserve good things. This is the message that's internalized by an infant or a young child when their parent or primary caregiver is not able to emotionally attune and regulate them. In its defense, the guilt tripper is trying to protect you from rejection. It believes that if it can keep you from expecting good things out of life and from other people, you will feel no hurt or rejection when good things don't happen. And finally, our last one, the molder. The molder believes that if you can just appear, think, and do things in the correct or normal way, people will accept and love you. The molder wants to mold you into what it thinks other people want and would like. So it is constantly assessing the people around you, trying to figure out who they are and what they want, so that it will know how to mold you into something the people will approve of and like. The end result of the molder is to have no sense of who you are and what you like. Your molder inner critic has turned you into everybody else, so much so that you are disconnected from your own feelings, wants, and desires, just so that you can be seen as normal and be loved. Again, in its defense, the molder really cares about you and thinks it's setting you up so that you will belong and be safe with other people. So those are our 7 inner critic types. So I'm curious, let me know in the chat box, who or what is your chief inner critic? In the meantime, what I will do is set you up with the possibility to download the free assessment tool. If everything goes well, you should be able to see this now in the right side of your screen. And my advice is just click to download. It will open a new tab on your browser and you can just download the assessment and after the webinar. Let me check in the chat box in the meantime what you think that your Okay, I can see a perfectionist. Yeah, that's my main one either. Others, or other people that already can intuitively define their chief inner critic. Another perfectionist. Okay. I guess that's one that is very active, especially in our professional life. Another perfectionist, taskmaster or molder. It depends on the case. That's, yeah, very interesting. And it can be a underminer. Okay, I see. Or it could be a combination. The underminer, so, okay. Let me know if you also received the link for the self-assessment on this one. So we're sure that everything there is fine for you. And then I'd like to move on to the third topic, and this is the exploration of some techniques to rewire our relationship with your inner critic. Okay, I can see that the link is okay. Very good. So, there are 5 techniques I want to offer you in this webinar to rewire your relationship with your inner critic. And this is a favorite quote of mine by William Shakespeare, and he says, "There's nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so." So let's have a look at those 5 techniques. First one is recognize your inner critic for what it is. Second one, eliminate should, give it a name, have a different dialogue. And last one is remember your successes. Now, those 5 techniques, they are simple, but they're not easy because rewiring is a process that takes time. So my advice is make sure that you start by planning these things, like in your agenda, or set up another type of reminder just to build awareness and to learn how to act differently or to stop doing things a certain way. Okay, so let's have a look at our first one. Recognize your inner critic for what it is. First step in dealing with the inner critic is actually to recognize it for what it is. And it is a habitual voice within you, but it is not you. See if you can hear it as combined voices of all the people in your past that have criticized you or caused you to question yourself. When I was young, I heard that I wasn't good enough and I didn't have what it takes to finish anything. Because my critic adopted this wholeheartedly and was very convincing on this one, this actually became my truth. So I would start things and grow quickly bored while my critic had a field day. It would tell me I wasn't good enough to finish anything, that I didn't deserve any success a completed project or dream would give me. So I would give up. And then my inner critic would be on my case about how useless I was for not finishing anything. It wasn't until I finally started to become aware of my critic's tactics that I realized this wasn't the truth. So see if you can hear particular phrases or words that came from a particular person. See if you can hear their voice when you hear those comments. And when you hear the words as belonging to someone else, you can see that this is where the critic took its cue from. And it also puts the criticism further away and makes you easier to disbelieve. Our next one is eliminate should. I won't pretend that removing the word should from my vocabulary has been easy, or that I've arrived and currently inhabit a should-free existence. But for now, however, I found some alternatives very helpful in overcoming my habit of shoulding myself and other people. The first one is focus on the benefits. Instead of telling myself I should be doing more of something, I try to focus on why I want to do that particular thing. For instance, instead of saying I should do more yoga, I remind myself why I want to do this. I feel great when I do yoga a few times a week. I enjoy feeling myself relaxed and stretch out when I do yoga. And I feel a greater sense of self-connection when I make time to connect my body and my breathing in yoga. Hear the difference? Second one is focus on how the activity fits with your values. One of the biggest things I used to shoot myself about was being on time. I struggled to turn up on time for work, appointments, meeting up with friends, and pretty much anything that was due to start at a set time. It was a constant battle with myself, and of course, telling myself you should be on time or you shouldn't be too late did nothing to change my tardiness. Instead, I started reframing this from the perspective of my values. I started telling myself, it's really important to me to be on time. Or I want to live with integrity and do what I say I'm going to do when I say I'm going to do that. My third one is focusing on accepting and exploring reality. I used to think that I shouldn't feel angry or frustrated or jealous. I had heard they were unhealthy feelings to experience, and I had to believe that there was something wrong with me for feeling that way. But no matter how much I told myself that I shouldn't feel these things, however, they didn't go away. Now I focus on accepting my experience. Instead of telling myself I shouldn't be feeling or thinking angry or frustrated, I take a step back and I say, okay, I'm feeling or thinking frustration. I wonder why that's happening now. So removing the word should from your vocabulary will take time, patience, and practice, but it is possible and it comes with great rewards. Replacing shoulds with more helpful dialogue will lead to a kinder relationship with yourself and better relationships with the people around you, believe me. Or third one, give your inner critic a name. Give it a personality, draw it, paint it, make it a TV character, have fun with it. I once had a client who was young, smart, and very likable, but she could never relax because she never felt good enough. She was terrified of making mistakes, so she avoided the people and things that made her most happy. She didn't want to risk other people discovering how inadequate she was. So I asked her to tell me what a critic looked like, and she replied that it looked like an ugly wolf. Over the course of the next few weeks, as she began to note when the wolf was present and accepted it, she found that it would naturally quiet down, because it's a different move than the one that we usually make, because we are turning to face the critic rather than trying to get away from it. So you can try this exercise yourself. Close your eyes and get in touch with that voice. See if you can sense what your critic looks like and give it a name that fits. You can even try this now. And as you go through your day, when you hear that voice, just notice silently to yourself that your critic is present. Because naming your critic allows you to see it for what it is. When you name your critic, it loses some of its power because you are acknowledging that you are not a problem. You don't need to be fixed. The real problem is that you believe everything the critic is telling you, and that's completely different. So if you have a name for your inner critic, feel free to put it in the chat box. Our next tactic is to have a different dialogue. This is basically my favorite one. I tell you why. The biggest problem in collaborating with your inner critic lies in a problem of language. It is about tone, vocabulary, and delivery. It sounds like a rough caveman, like, "You idiot, don't you see the tiger coming at you?" And your inner critic voice gets your attention through pain and panic, things that make you cringe and pull away. And this makes it hard to hear the content or what's to be learned behind that message of disapproval. There are, however, simple ways to renegotiate your relationship with your inner critic that can lead to a more positive interaction that both engages and even amplifies learning. First of all, acknowledge and appreciate. The negative chart of inner critic energy masks its positive benefits. Interrupting this instinctive shy away from the pain happens through implementing a habit of acknowledgement, like giving it a name, and appreciation, that is, recognizing your inner critic's motivation and appreciating what it's trying to do. For example, when your inner critic pops up and say to yourself, "That's a part of me that wants to keep me safe and help me learn." And with this perspective shift, you can focus on the learning that needs to be done versus the unkind way the need for it is delivered. Step 2 there is teach your inner critic to reframe criticism into coaching. Because the inner critic voice is unkind, it all too often usurps your power. In truth, however, you are equal. When you stand up to your inner critic and redefine the dialogue, you can change both what is said and the results. For example, you can train your shoulda, woulda, coulda critic to a next time let's try mentor. Implementing this rephrase habit immediately reduces the negative feeling, and you are still retaining the educational message. For example, "You should have taken the highway to avoid this local traffic, dummy," becomes, "Next time, let's avoid local traffic by immediately getting on the highway." Feel the difference? Okay. The last one is remember your successes. If your critic continually points out your weaknesses, then fool it by looking for your strengths. Tell it that while you might not be Rembrandt with your artistic abilities, you do have other things that make you worthwhile and valuable. Maybe you have great people skills. Maybe you're a whiz in the kitchen. Maybe you have courage or compassion or common sense. So become intimately aware of your own successes. Whether you are a writer, a musician, a landscaper, an accountant, a mother, or a student, you have a unique perspective backed by unique experiences and gifts. You have the capacity to love, to serve, and contribute. And you have everything you need to accomplish good in your little section of the world. So with that opportunity squarely in front of you, become intimately aware of your past successes and find motivation in them to pursue more. So a little reflection time. Which technique is the first one that you would love to apply? I will set a poll on that one so we can see which one has your preference. Remember and celebrate your successes. Eliminate should. Okay. I'm going to leave the poll for 10 more seconds and then end it. So you should be able to see the results, but they're pretty predominant here, as I can see. Okay. Very good. So basically, now that you know that your inner critic is an important part of you and will always be there in the form of some way, and you have to learn to move into action despite and because of those self-doubts. That's the key. And it's not like one day you will wake up and the inner critic has vanished. I have now introduced 5 techniques to create a new relationship with your inner critic. And they're all 5 also in the ebook that you will be able to download right away. As I already said, changing is a process. It takes time and energy. So I invite you to try these techniques and gradually integrate them. But what else can you do to fully grow and develop your potential, to fully live your life and achieve your big goals? I have 3 more offers for you. First of all, you can join our leadership community in case you haven't done that yet. I have set up the link where you can register for our community. As a member of our community, you will receive monthly tips on how you can be in the lead of your professional and your personal life. And you will also be the first to be invited for free workshops, webinar, or special events like this one. So please just join us. If you click the link in the right side of the screen, it will open a new tab. And all you have to do is fill in your name and most relevant email addresses that you are in, and you are in. Okay, so I will remove this offer shortly so we can move to the next thing that we can offer. And that is basically embark on your personal e-coaching journey. If you want to go deeper in your relationship with your inner critic, then an e-coaching journey can support you in doing so. Or e-coaching journeys, they are self-led and self-paced, so you can do them on your own rhythm. Or journey for dealing with the inner critic has 4 building blocks with audio, video, and text. And additionally, it offers you interaction with me, coaching you in different ways. What's specific? As a webinar participant, you pay only 199 euros instead of 299 euros for this e-coaching program. And it includes access to the platform, all the learning and reading materials, live chat with me, feedback from me on your review and reflection exercises, and a one-on-one coaching session with me that I normally charge 250 euro for. Additionally, you can book more one-on-one coaching sessions whenever you feel that is necessary. I will also pull that offer on your screen so you can have the click through for the e-coaching. So if you are interested, then you just can click. Again, it will open in another tab and then you can deal with that later on. The third formula that we can offer you is just join me in a personal retreat program. What is this? It is a 3-day retreat in the amazing setting of Andalusia. Some of our attendants here know how amazing that setting is. So in the extraordinary beauty and calm of nature, you will benefit from accelerated learning. And as your personal coach, I will guide and support you in discovering the tools that prove to be best fit for your development. Other participants have described the environment as a real boost for body, heart, and soul. Now, I have 4 slots available at a reduced rate. That's half of July, end of August, and beginning of September. There are other slots available at the standard rate. I will tell you more about this pretty soon. So what is the program? First, we have an intake, so we can also build awareness. And then we have 6 active coaching sessions with relaxation, meditation, a toolbox full of exercises that you can take home. We include reflection moments. There's action planning for the future. And for the diehards, there's quite some reading materials. Some feedback from other participants were in-deep techniques that enabled them to install and anchor the new wirings and behaviors, which is of course very essential. So these are the surroundings. We also do outdoor coaching. So we have the experience of transformational power of nature, and it is really a detox for body and mind. So what is the package? For 4 slots, I can offer this to you for a reduced price of 1,950 euros for 3 days, and everything is included except for the flights to Malaga airport. All the other things are included, so that means airport transfer, accommodation, breakfast, lunch, dinner, 2 activities, excursions, all learning and reading materials, and my favorite book, Awaken Your Authentic Leadership. So basically, we can offer slots that go over the weekend, so you do not lose 3 working days. We can also work out payment plans. And if you are a small business owner or work for a PME in Flanders, there might be interesting government subsidies. If you're not really fond of Andalusia, you never know, we can also organize these sessions face-to-face somewhere in Belgium at your preference, just to make sure that it is complete. So that's it, basically. These are the outcomes that we offer you from all our programs. That is, you will be able to identify and live your core values, let go of beliefs and voices that are holding you back, that will offer you increased feelings of worthiness, and you will experience abundance in your life, and much more. So that's it, folks. So before we are going to, I will go to, so basically, this is the e-coaching journey that I was talking about you earlier on. So I invite you to just click the register so it opens in another box, because I can see that I did not put that published right away. So this is the first. If you want to find out more about the retreat or the coaching journey in general, I will set up another link for the retreat. And basically what you can do here, this is a link to go to my schedule. So you can just book a 30-minute call with me to get more information, to find out if this is something that is really worthwhile for you or that is working for you. So there's no obligation whatsoever there. The only thing this does is giving you access to my agenda and the opportunity to book 30 minutes with me without any obligations. So this is for the retreat, and also if you want to discuss the possibilities to do this journey in a one-on-one basis in Belgium. Okay, so what I will set up now is promised. The link is the link for the free ebook, How to Transform Your Relationship with Your Inner Critic. So if you click that link, let me remove this one. I hope everything works fine for you. So if you click the next link, then it will take you to a Dropbox page where the ebook can be. You can save it or you can download it directly. The choice is yours. So I will leave this offer on. And then basically, within our time frame, we're at our, thank you, Olivia. So basically, I have some time for Q&As, but as I said, I'm also available for personal Q&As in case you might have those. So if you have any right now, just put them in the chat box so we can deal with them. All downloads worked. Thank you so much, Olivia. You're such a support. So I will already set up the next screen where you have my contact data again. So if you want to contact me, but again, I would advise you to just schedule a 30 minutes call with me. That makes things a lot easier in terms of interaction. So any questions, any feedback, things that amazed you, things that surprised you? I will just give it some time to put it in the chat box, because I believe because of the Wi-Fi, the streaming might be slow and there's some delay in the chat messages. My apologies for that. Okay, so after the session closed, you will also receive a form or a review form for your feedback and evaluation. I would really appreciate if you could take the 2 or 3 minutes to fill it out, because your feedback is very valuable for me and it also helps me to improve the webinars for the future. Thank you, Eric. So if there are no questions at this moment, then I would say pick at least one of the 5, install them gradually in your routine, in your life. Make sure you include some reminders. As I said, personally, I put them in my agenda. And so try this and let me know. You have my coordinates on the screen. So share your stories with me, share your successes, contact me if you have any questions, if you're stuck. I'm always very happy to see how things develop and grow. So you're very welcome to get in touch with me. So thank you all. I will close it for now. Thank you very much for being here with me. And I hope we will talk or meet each other very soon. Olivia, I will definitely see you very soon in Andalusia. I have a retreat, by the way, in 2 weeks, so I will get there. Okay. I'm just reading. Yeah. Okay, Else is telling that she can now reframe a voice that she hears inside. Yeah, very, very good. Excellent. So folks, thank you so much for being here. And I hope that we can connect pretty soon. At least register for the leadership community. So we will keep in touch virtually anyway. And I see you soon. Bye-bye now.